And hello and welcome to the off season. Minnesota Vikings, $70 million in cap. And here comes the retirements. And let's view the 2023 retirements. And my goodness, Harrison Smith chose retirement on top, winning the Super Bowl, and so did Adam Thielen. So Minnesota now needs a wide receiver and a strong safety badly. So Minnesota's now first two picks are locked and loaded. And my goodness, Taysom Hill also retires. Ben Jones, Brian Bulaga, Pernell McPhee, Schofield, Long, Calais Campbell, Marvin Jones, Von Miller. Great career for him. Nick Folk, Brett Curran, Cordero Patterson retires after 11 seasons. Linval Hungry, Trent Williams, Randall Cobb, Xavier Rhodes, ex-Minnesota Viking, Akeem Hicks, Morstead, Hudson Pugh, Brandon Graham, Justin Houston, Jared Cook, Emmanuel Sanders on a great 14-year career will retire. Cole Beasley, Carlos Dunlap, Kevin Huber, Malcolm Butler, Chris Harris Jr. retires. Tyrod Taylor's gone. Jerick McKinnon, ex-Viking as well. Robert Alford, T.Y. Hilton, Niseki. Oh boy. Gerald McCoy will be gone. Danny Trevathan retired. Colt McCoy is done. Among the others, Marquise Goodwin, Latavius Murray played in Minnesota as well. Carlos Hyde, and then for the coaches, defensive coordinator Pete Carroll retires from the Bills. But my goodness, you talk about retirings that really affect a team. The 2023-2024 Minnesota Vikings going into 2024-2025 will be without Harrison Smith and Adam Thielen, longtime staples on this team. And we're going to find out how they combat or how they bounce back from this retirement. It hurts. It really does. And my goodness, we will no doubt be feeling that sting for a couple years. This has been Randy Replay. I do believe that is all that we will check in here. Off-season stage number 1. The mock drafts go as such for the top 10. Dallas Turner slated to go to the Steelers. Amarius Mims slated to go to the 49ers. Caleb Williams and Donovan Jackson slated to go to the Texans. Trayvon Henderson to the Titans. Damon Payne to the Seahawks. Oh boy. JT Tui Molowau. Sorry. And then Egbuka goes to the Minnesota Vikings. So with the new news of the retirements, Emeka needs to be drafted by Minnesota. He needs to slide whatever needs to happen. He's slated to go at number 8. And then Brock Bowers and Kenny Phillips to the Eagles and Commanders, respectively. Big news coming out of Minnesota. How will they respond? They need a wide receiver. They need a strong safety out of this draft. We will check back in as the offseason progresses. This has been Randy Replay. I will see you in just a minute. And hello and welcome back to Free Agent Recap. Minnesota have come to terms with Chidobe Awuzie, or Awuzie, however you want to say it. 1 year, 7-9, $5.7 million. Logan Wilson signs with the team, right outside linebacker. Team is expected to get him over to left outside linebacker. 3 years, $49 million. Brandon Ayuk is on fire. Signs with the team, 3 years, $37 million. Robbie Anderson, the crazy-haired wonder, signs with the team, 2 years, just under $14 million. Justin Jones will plug up the middle in the 4-3 defense that Minnesota is implementing, as well as the 3-4. $6 million for 1 year. And then Ryan Nall, the guy who will replace C.J. Ham in the fullback spot. Looking around the NFL, Nick Bosa will sign with the Falcons, so one of the teams that we follow gets maybe a uppity up. The team that won the Free agency, the Patriots, who the Vikings face in Super Bowl 58, get Chase Young. Rashawn Gary goes to the Chicago Bears, so keep him coming, keep him coming. Justin Herbert will sign with the Patriots, so that begs the question, where does Mac Jones go? The Aints only have one quarterback on roster. Cam Akers goes to the Giants. Jenkins will go to the Jaguars. Awuzie comes here to Minnesota. Ed Oliver signs with Titans. Havenstein signs with the Jaguars as well. Dobbins goes to the Lions. Fletcher Cox goes to the Aints. A couple other names here. Big names. Young Hoku will re-sign with the Falcons. They were excited to have him back. Gabe Davis will go to 49ers. A.J. Dillon signs with the Falcons as well. Higbee will go to the Colts. And J.J. Watt will go to the Denver Broncos, running out kind of the top. And Jonathan Jones will go to the Bears, running out kind of the top spots here. Robbie Anderson, Casey Hayward Jr. will go to the Browns. And Darius Slayton goes to the 49ers. So that will do it for the free agency recap. The NFL draft coming up next. This has been Randy Replay. I will see you for the 2024 draft. Hello and welcome back. Randy Replay here. 2024 NFL draft about to begin. Oh, snap. Here we go. Minnesota. Picks number 8. Buffalo got up into the top 4. These are some of the big trades that have happened. We will go through everything in the season preview coming up here. But for now, it is time to start the NFL draft. I will see you in just a minute. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have our correspondents with the Falcons and the Bills here, respectively. Falcons own the number 4 pick. I know Minnesota owns number 8, and Atlanta is sure to pick later on. Do you guys have any picks?
Randy, I believe actually Buffalo owns the number 4 pick and not Atlanta.
Oh,
just to clarify that.
Right. I do see it on the top of the screen now. I do apologize. When does Atlanta do you pick in the first? Oh, snap. All right.
You don't got to pick for the third round.
Third round, Minnesota holds 0 picks in the third round as they traded with Buffalo. The first user franchise trade here, or user pick trade, whatever you want to call it here in this franchise. Well, the pick is in for the Steelers. Let's see who they get. And the number 1 overall will be Dallas Turner, right end out of Alabama, or Alabama, however you want to say it. So Dallas Turner will start things off. Next pick is in. Going pretty quick here. 49ers will select Donovan Jackson, left tackle out of not available. So apparently taken off the street. Donovan Jackson. And Texans fans, your team is on the clock. Pick is in already, just motoring through here. And Caleb Williams, the first QB taken. And number 1 QB in this year's draft, taken off the board. Now the Bills, who just traded today, this pick was owned by the Texans. They did go back to back, but Buffalo finessed them out, and we'll see what happens here.
Rumors are swirling around that Buffalo is looking to make a trade.
Okay.
They have multiple calls that they're fielding right now.
Well, there you have it. Confirmed. Multiple calls being fielded. Many speculated that a wide receiver would go here, but Minnesota's trade might lead them to take a strong safety. But as you know, anything can happen here in the NFL draft. My goodness, this is like Christmas in July. Or May. And looks like the Buffalo Bills have traded with the Seattle Seahawks. Do you have details to go over?
Yeah, it looks like Seattle made an offer. Tennessee did as well, actually. Those 2 teams right behind them, and they liked Seattle's offer better to be able to just drop back 2 spots.
All right, makes sense. So they drop back 2. Seattle wants somebody, obviously, and let's figure out who they want because their pick is in already. And it's Damon Payne, defensive tackle out of Alabama. So the top 3 picks, or the top 4 picks rather, see 2 Alabama players going. My goodness. So Damon Payne will shore up the inside of that defensive line for Seattle. Now Tennessee also contacted Buffalo. Their pick is in. And it's Trayvon Henderson. So they get another running back to back up already one of the best in the league, and now Buffalo back on the clock. Duh. So the number 6 now officially belonging to Buffalo. We will get their pick momentarily. Okay, so making history repeat itself, Buffalo has traded out of pick number 6. Hey, that rhymed. And now they pick right before Minnesota. What happened?
Just more draft capital for Buffalo. They're able to just slide back one spot and pick up a couple extra picks later in the draft.
Oh, snap. So capital. What's the capital of New York? It's not Buffalo, but they're trying to get more. Here we go. Jeez. The Jacksonville Jaguars pick is in, and welcome to Florida. Amarius Mims, the number 1 rated player to go in the draft, goes here at pick number 7. And now Buffalo picks right before Minnesota. They did make a trade, of course, the first user trade in this franchise, for a wide receiver. And Minnesota fans, you are shaking in your boots here, as now Buffalo controls the fate of how your first round selection will go. Well, one of your first 4. And so the pick for the Bills is in. It is Jeremiah Biddle, somebody on the Minnesota Vikings radar for their 3rd overall selection in the first round, but he slides or goes, depending on how you want to say it, number 7. Do you want to explain the pick as Minnesota is on the clock now, Buffalo?
Yeah, I think Buffalo is. They might have shot themselves in the foot, as that last trade they made, they were looking at taking that right tackle and Mims, and they went that one pick right ahead. So they decided to go and get some linebacker depth here. They needed somebody to be able to step in. We'll see what they do with Edmonds, if they'll hang on to Edmonds or if Biddle can slide right into the starting lineup.
Very, very intriguing indeed. Situation of middle linebacker for the Buffalo Bills. Minnesota's on the clock. Their pick is already in. Many people with Adam Thielen's exit due to retirement. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. It's Emeka Egbuka. Welcome to the land of Minnesota. Your Super Bowl champions have picked Egbuka. So there you go. They get the guy they wanted. A little bit of tense waiting around there, but they finally get the guy they want, and welcome the wide receiver apparently off the street. So, oh boy. So Minnesota fans across the world, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You get the guy you wanted, and now we will go ahead to the next pick. The Eagles, or the Scumbags, however you want to look at them, are on the clock, and this is the first name I was worried about. JT Tui Moloau. I don't even know. That's my best guess. So Minnesota doesn't pick until number 27. I'm sure the Buffalo Bills have a few more picks here coming up, but we're just going to keep motoring. The Commanders on the clock, and the Commanders pick is in. It is Kenny Phillips, cornerback out of Texas Tech. My heavens. So Kenny Phillips will shore up that Commanders cornerback room in one of the worst places to play in the NFL. Here's the second worst place, Chicago. Their pick is in, motoring right along here. And it's Michael Schilling, right tackle out of Arizona State, or Arizona State, however you want to say it. And for the Giants, they had a really good free agency period. Let's see how they bolster their lineup as the pick is in. Nick Stewart, the first overall strong safety, will go here. Oh boy. Minnesota's getting a little bit stressed out, as now Max Stackhouse is the best strong safety available. After that, it kind of trails off into the 2nd and 3rd rounds. So Nick Stewart will go number 12 overall, and the Ravens pick is in. And it's Xavier Worthy, the second, wide receiver out of Texas. Speaking about Texas, the Houston Texans pick is in, so many ties here. We have 3 Texas mentions here in a row. It's the Texans, Xavier Worthy from Texas, then the Dallas Cowboys, but Jack Sawyer, left end out of the streets, goes here number 14. My goodness, so we are motoring right along here as the Cowboys pick is in. This is how the first round usually goes. Pretty quick here. Brock Bowers, tight end, best available. Goes here number 15 to the Dallas Cowboys. Now Carolina on the clock. Their pick is in. and it is Tyler Flanagan. My goodness. Defensive tackle out of Texas. So a lot of Texas mentions here in the first round. Raiders pick is in David Brinkley, the second middle linebacker to go here from Tennessee. And Chiefs fans,
we have a trade to announce out of Buffalo.
A trade to announce. Okay, what's going on?
It looks like Buffalo decided that they're going to roll with Jeremiah Biddle at starting middle linebacker this year. They went ahead and traded Tremaine Edmonds to the Jets.
What?
A second round pick and Sauce Gardner.
So there you have it. A New York trade. By heavens. So Sauce Gardner to the Bills. And any draft capital? Did you mention that? Sorry.
Yeah, the Bills picked up a second round pick in the draft as well from the Jets.
Well, gosh darn it, there you go. So trades aplenty, already four rather, for the Buffalo Bills here. Looking to match their 6 or 7 last season, and they're right on track to do so. And we're not even out of the top 20. My goodness. So Chiefs, Red Kingdom, your pick has been in for a little bit. We had some news to get through. We appreciate the Buffalo Bills for providing that with us. And who do you get? You get Mitch Curry, another left tackle taken, this one out of Stanford. And the aforementioned Jets are on the clock. Many speculate a wide receiver here. And, they're going to go right outside linebacker, the best available, Deontay Reese. Or if you're weird, you would say Reese. But we all know. So the Aints have only one quarterback on roster, rated 58 out of 100 by the NFL. Many speculate the second quarterback to go here. So for the Aints or the Saints, it is Quinn Ewers out of Texas. So another Texas reference here in the first round. And it looks like Saints fans, you get your quarterback. They forego everybody in free agency, all the quarterbacks that are available, to get a rookie, probably to save on draft cap. And Miami's pick is in. It's Mike Clayton, another linebacker, this one out of Oregon. And now the Tampa Bay Bucks expected to add a weapon for Will Levi's jeans. Their pick is in. And they will instead try and protect those jeans as Devin Cummings out of Auburn, left guard, best overall ranked lineman, goes right here. And Buffalo on the clock. While Buffalo makes their pick, you do see that we coming up next in the next 5, we have the Colts, the Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim, and then Minnesota back-to-back to kind of edge out this first round. Already done with round number 1. My goodness. And another trade, the 5th of the draft, and we're not even out of the first round. What do you got for us now?
Just sliding one spot back again and picking up 2 later round picks.
Oh my goodness. So capital. What's the capital of New York? It's about to be Buffalo because they're trading skins more than anybody. So the Colts moved up a spot. They obviously have somebody they need. Let's figure out what it is as they are quickly, after the trade, get their picks in. And it's Chase Sweeney, or Swiney, right guard at LSU. Buffalo back on the clock. Oh boy. And then we get the Green Bay Packers coming up here as well. Oh boy. My apologies. Minnesota has a pick after the Packers, so it's 27, 28, and then 32. Packers, Patriots, Vikings to round out the first round. My goodness. Randy replays so many mistakes on these broadcasts, but it's okay. So the pick is in for Buffalo. It is Nick Edison, center out of Iowa State. So another lineman goes off the board here. Is this a depth move, or are you expecting him to start day number 1?
I think this is a depth move, looking at Mitch Morse getting up there in age, contract wise. This is a maybe a year in waiting type of situation for Nick Edison.
You know that all too well, as we're kind of 4-star hand at strong safety and at wide receiver. My goodness. So the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Their pick is in. We're going to figure this out. And it's Nick Buckley, the free safety out of Ole Miss. And as long as the Rams don't take Max Stackhouse, that could be the projected next pick for the Minnesota Vikings. Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim pick is in. And it is Marcus Rice, right tackle, Florida State. So now Minnesota back-to-back. We got a couple picks. And then apparently the Patriots have traded. And yeah, so Minnesota back-to-back. 3 more, and then their last pick in this draft. At number 32, their owned pick. My goodness. Minnesota's pick is in. They're second of the 4 in the first round, and it's Max Stackhouse. Looking to come in and be the heir to the throne that was Harrison Smith. 6'1" hybrid strong safety out of Arizona State with a hidden dev trait. They might have reached a little bit, but Minnesota feels good about the pick. And Minnesota's back on the clock again. And ladies and gentlemen, the Vikings will trade back 2 spots with the Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim. I'm being told it is a first-round swap. They will get a 3rd this year and then a 4th, I believe, next season. So after Max Stackhouse, who do the Chargers want so badly? We're going to figure it out. Quentin Donald, left tackle, Oklahoma State. And then those Swiss cheese Packers are now on the clock. So Minnesota will get another couple picks here off that trade, and it's Greg Whitfield, right tackle, USC. Minnesota back on the clock. And the pick is in. It will be Clayton Smith. It's a bit of a reach, but the right end speed rusher out of not available college again, my goodness, has a hidden trait. So Clayton Smith will go here, number 30, and now the Jaguars are on the board. They will select Spencer Harris, defensive tackle out of Clemson, and Minnesota's on the board for the last time in the first round. And for Minnesota, it will be Matthias Blau, hidden dev trait, maybe a little bit of a reach, but the team needs another power rusher on that left side. 6'4", 252 out of Tennessee. So kind of a weird right end selection, and then they come back with what could be a good pick as the best overall left outside linebacker lands in Minnesota. So Steelers back on the top, back in the top of the draft here. Round number 2 will start, and they will select Jaquinski McKinstry. So the weirdest name in the 2024 draft goes off the board to the Steelers. Jaquinski McKinstry, not available college again. A lot of these guys just seemingly taken out of high school. My goodness. So the 49ers on the clock. They know who they want. It's DeMar Streets, left outside linebacker. You got to believe Minnesota affected that pick. And maybe, hopefully, Red Kingdom. You will get Evan Pettis, tight end, Penn State. My heavens. So the Texans are back on the clock already. Their pick is in. We are motoring along here. Dwayne Palmer, defensive tackle out of LSU. And the Tennessee Titans pick is in. Michael Batten, left tackle. So another tackle, very tackle heavy here in the early rounds. Minnesota's next pick is round 3, number 30 overall. I know the Buffalo Bills, the only team with a couple picks here in round number 2. And the Falcons' next pick is round number 3. So they're patiently waiting. We do appreciate everybody being a part of this. So Brian Sermons will go second round, number 6, to the Seattle Super Chickens and Jacksonville Jaguars. On the clock now, their pick is in. Jamal Allen, halfback, running back, however you want to call it, South Carolina State. And how will the roar be restored here? The Detroit Lions playing out of the Kitty Box in Ford Field. Brian Forbes, running back, Ohio State. My goodness. And there was speculation that the Denver Broncos were listening in on the free agents that the Falcons wanted to get, as Jeffrey Cooks will join their squad. Best overall cornerback available in the draft after Jaquinski McKinstry is picked. And the Washington Commanders, worst stadium of all time. Here we go. Mike McBride, left tackle out of USF. And once again, the second worst place to play. Over there in the Windy City, Chicago will pick Earl Duncan. So it's back-to-back tackles. A lot of tackles going here in the earlier rounds of this draft. My heavens, must have been really deep. Minnesota kind of missed the mark, although they do have Freeman, the big 6'8" monster. Marco Sweeney will go to the Giants. I'm having the biggest of brain farts here in the draft. Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Their pick is in. And it's Frank Sullivan, middle linebacker, Arizona State. And Buffalo coming up here in the next couple of picks. Texans, you're on the clock. Their selection, Shelton Biddle, wide receiver, Oregon State. So I haven't seen a wide receiver go in quite some time. The Carolina Panthers, Marquise Palmer, cornerback out of Auburn, and the Houston Texans back on the board here. My goodness. So a lot of pick for the Texans, and it'll be Reed Robertson, another left tackle. So if you want a left tackle in the draft, my goodness, your options are dwindling as the Raiders are on the clock. And they pick Jose Asterix, defensive tackle out of Georgia. And the Chiefs, Red Kingdom, you're back on the clock here in the second round. Pick 18 goes the way of Rayshawn Byrd, cornerback out of Colorado State. And welcome back to the Spotlight, Buffalo Bills Mafia. You have another selection in about 5 or 6 picks. Let's see what you want to do. Pick number 19 in the second round. The pick is in. It is Antoine Allen, strong safety out of Florida. What do you like about this kid?
Buffalo lost a couple safeties in the offseason. They definitely needed to get some depth there. Whether or not he's an impact player right away is too, TBD, but they saw him there. They didn't want to let him sit any longer.
Makes sense. If you have somebody on your board, hopefully it wasn't a left tackle, go out and get him now. So the EAGLES Eagles, or SCUMBAGS Scumbags, however you want to say it, back on the clock here. Second round pick number 20 goes way of Jackson Dart, only the second or third quarterback taken in this draft. I do believe it is number 3. So the Miami Dolphins, actually back-to-back Buffalo picks coming up here. My goodness. So trading back works. And Aaron Oden, running back out of Northern Iowa, or Auden, however you want to say it, will go to the Miami Dolphins. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get Raymond McLeod, right guard out of Iowa. So back-to-back picks there across the offensive line, trying to protect, rather, not defend. Well, however you want to put it. Will Levis jeans, or Levi's jeans. So the Cowboys pick Brad Nails, left end out of Penn State. And now we got back-to-back Buffalo Bills picks here in 24-25 of round number 2. All right. So number 24 in the second round goes by way of David Hanna, right tackle, Florida State. Oh boy. We'll get explanation.
Buffalo's just looking to shore up some offensive line depth issues that they have. Also looking to the future. They saw him slide a bit in the draft, and they're like, this is ripe for the picking here. A lot of left tackles going off the board. He's a right tackle that just kept sliding, so they decided to pull the trigger. Very much like the last pick. A lot of left tackles being taken, majority of them in this round. My heavens.
So a good depth move there. That's pretty much what you're going to get out of the later rounds. But David Hanna going to Buffalo. They're still on the clock here. See what they want to do. Round 2, pick 25. And it's Carlos Beverly. So they trade with Minnesota in the first user trade here in the franchise? Is this just replacing that hole there at wide receiver?
Definitely looking to replace. He does have a hidden talent as well, and you know
Ooh.
Alabama puts out beasts of wide receivers. So
Alabama and LSU, that is all you need to know. So a hidden dev trait, you love to see it. A good replacement for Demos, however you want to say it. And they get their guy, Carlos Beverly. So they go back-to-back offense here in the second round. The Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim on the clock now. We'll see what they want to do here. Pick number 26. It'll be Joe McIntosh, quarterback out of Tulane. Excuse me. And now the Browns back here, and it's Brandon Bennett, free safety, USC. Now the Broncos are on the clock. Back-to-back Steelers picks coming up here after the Patriots get their first selection. It looks like in the second round. And it's Rashad Green, free safety. So, my goodness, Boston College. Rashad Green will be home in Denver. So I wish we could skip this pick, but we have to do it. The Packers will select Jonathan Archer, left end, LSU. Oh boy. And then Los Angeles Chargers back on the clock here. Kevin Chapman, free safety out of Wisconsin. Oh boy. And here we go. A couple back-to-back picks, as you can see top of your screen. Steelers, Bengals, Texans to round out the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft. The Patriots will select Oscar Shade. You best believe we're not throwing any at this guy. He's a big running back out of Texas. He will go here. So pick 32, round number 2, goes by way of the Steelers. This was Minnesota's pick. We traded it away, probably in the T.J. Hawkinson or the Von Miller trades that have transpired here. Who knows? And Brandon Hoover, left outside linebacker from Louisville, or Louisville, if you want to be fancy. And back-to-back picks are in, and it's Brandon Hoover and Jamie Holiday, free safety, Michigan State. So the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock, looking to bolster that Super Bowl winning team from 2 years ago. How are they going to do it? Glenn Burke, wide receiver, UCLA. As you can see, top of the screen, it's Texans, Titans, Bills, Jaguars, Lions, oh my. So the first of two for the Texans are in. It's Silas Roach, somebody that the Minnesota Vikings were looking at. Right end out of LSU. Ultimately went with the other right end, best available. We'll see if that pans out for him. And it's Brandon Murray, quarterback out of Miami. So we see the Falcons for the first time here early in the third round. It should be 8 or 9. But first, we have to get through a couple more picks. The Tennessee Titans will select Jermaine Wilford, defensive tackle out of Oregon, and that will put the Bills back on the clock today. All right, so we do have a selection coming across the board here. It will be Joey Overeem from Utah, left outside linebacker. You want to give some insight to the pick here?
It's just another depth move. I think you're going to see a lot of depth moves for Buffalo moving forward in this draft, as they have a lot of draft capital, you may say, but they also have a lot of contracts that are going to be an issue down the road. So a lot of depth moves here for Buffalo going forward.
And there you have it. So Joey Overeem, welcome to the Buffalo Bills Mafia. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. They will, well, their pick is already in. It's Tyrone Fleming, right guard, Texas Tech. And for the Lions, how are they restore the roar there in Detroit? It's Shaq Mickens, or McKens, however you want to say it, wide receiver out of USC. And for Atlanta is their first pick in the draft. They have a couple of holes to fill, although they went crazy in the free agency. Nick Bosa and Young Ho Koo, just to name a few. Hey, that rhymed. How about you? So Atlanta back on the clock here. Well, here on the clock for the first time here in the third round. Pick number 9. Minnesota picks at number 30. I'm sure Buffalo has a few in between there. So Atlanta, what are we thinking here? And the pick is in for Atlanta. Wide receiver Darrell Buckhalter, Bowling Green State. Any insight on the pick?
Pretty much just a depth move. I mean, last year we drafted Johnston, who was an absolute stud. We drafted Johnson also from Michigan. We obviously have James Jr., so I mean, this was pretty much just a depth move, and I think he'll fit the hole that obviously we lost because of Randall Cobb retiring, so definitely like this pick. He's 6'2", so it kind of fits what we've been going with wide receiver-wise.
And there you have it. So a lot of depth move here already in the third round. You guys bolstered the defense, no doubt. And it's Darrell Buckhalter going here, round 3, pick number 9. So here we go. Washington Commanders, worst place in football to play, and call a game. And there we'll go with Levi Edwards, right outside linebacker, Illinois State. And the Bears are back on the clock. Bears will select Will St. Clair, wide receiver out of California. Speaking about California, Los Angeles Chargers on the clock. Their pick is in, and it's Stephen Pearson. I don't know, look like the weekend cornerback, Virginia Tech. So the Ravens are on the clock. We got Buffalo coming up here in a couple. We'll see. The Ravens will select Kyrie Lucas, tight end out of Georgia. Welcome back, Miami Dolphins. How will you bolster? Oh, okay. Kyle Barnes, center out of Notre Dame. So, and as we say goodbye to the Dolphins, we welcome back Buffalo on the clock again here. Lots of trades in the early rounds have given them kind of a backloaded draft on round 3, pick 15. See what the selection will be. All right. Pick is in. It's Sheriff Blaylock. Middle linebacker, USF. I'm assuming trading away starting middle linebacker. This another clear depth move.
Definitely a clear depth move. Also, he was shooting up the boards quite a bit. Some saw him shooting up at least 29 spots. So it was definitely a grab him while you can.
Oh, geez. Well, there you go. Couple of those picks coming across for the Buffalo Bills, and you'll love to see it. So the Ravens back on the clock here. A lot of movement around the NFL, and it's Roman Lowry, defensive tackle out of Florida. Minnesota has a pick coming up in 15 selections. And then after that, due to time constraints with 60 minutes, we will have to speed through these rounds. So Clyde Bowman will go to right guard, will go to the Raiders, Texas A&M. And for the Chiefs, Red Kingdom back on the clock. Colin Sampson, left guard, USC. My goodness. So he will go there. Pick 18, round number 3, and the Jets, gosh darn Jets, will select Aaron Cobb, cornerback, Northern Illinois. And for the Aints, they got a quarterback. They got their guy. We'll see how they want to bolster that offense. And it is Amir Perkins, wide receiver out of Oregon. Hopefully we'll be open all night like the restaurant. All you can eat pancakes and hopefully touchdowns in Nolans. So Miami Dolphins, welcome back. You guys will get Jamal Ewing. A lot of offensive linemen. It's a very deep draft for tackles. Minnesota should have jumped on that earlier, but they do have a pretty good depth there, so not really needed. And Joel Miner will go to the Bucks, right outside linebacker out of Akron, or Akron, however you want to say it. And for the Dallas Cowboys, they will select Harvey Hayes, cornerback, Mississippi State. And it just feels like we just welcome you guys here. It's Buffalo again, pick number 24. Minnesota picks in 6. And then after that, of course, like we said, due to time constraints with other local programming, we will speed ahead here as fast as we can. So Devin Rutland, strong safety, Memphis, goes to Buffalo here in the third round. Another depth move, I'm assuming?
Yes, yeah. Another depth move.
Awesome. So there you have it. Arizona back on the board here. They will select Byron Levy, or Levi. Hopefully not Levi. Defensive tackle, Mississippi State. So another Mississippi State guy goes. The Rams, Damon Donald, not to be confused with Aaron of the same first last name. running back USF. I'm really trying to really force these in here, and it's not really working. The Browns will select Nolan Stevens, cornerback, Ohio State. And Denver Broncos back on the clock. Their pick is in. My goodness, we are motoring right along here. Martin Polk, tight end, Indiana State. And I really wish we could skip this pick, but we have to. The Packers will select Greg Kaplan, right outside linebacker, Tennessee and Minnesota. On the clock here. Round 3, pick number 30. And so for Minnesota, the pick is in. Jay Bryan, left outside linebacker. He is a speed rusher, 6'6", 250, out of William and Mary. He is a normal, as rated by the NFL, but pretty good measurables here. William and Mary got pretty good measurables there. And the Houston Texans are back on the clock. So we'll see what they want to do here. And so round 4, pick number 6, Daniel Shivers goes to the Buffalo Bills, running back out of Massachusetts, as you can see across the top, littered with user picks coming up here. So we will advance to the Vikings pick. It will be Paul Spurlock, QB Marshall, going to Denver. And this is Minnesota's last pick in the draft here, round number 4. Have traded with Cleveland. They will move back quite a few spots, and they will also get another draft pick here in the 6th round. So we will figure out who they take and who they wanted so badly here in the 4th. The Browns will select Markel Hills, QB out of Alabama, and littered with Falcons picks coming up here, as the Eagles will take Tyrone Sinclair, fullback out of Ole Miss. And for the Falcons, you guys have 3 picks in the next 6. My goodness. And the pick is in. It's Brandon Wheeler, middle linebacker, Florida State, coming across here. Pick 10 in round number 4. Oh boy, so back-to-back picks. You looking to just plug some holes here, or are you looking for a day 1 starter here in the 4th round, a little diamond in the rough?
I mean, hey, if I hit a diamond in the rough, then I hit one, but my main focus, to be honest, is just like filling up the holes that I need on this team.
Makes sense. That is what these later rounds are for. Your bread and butter of the depth positions. So we got round pick 11, and then we come back to the Falcons in 14. Minnesota picks 27. I'm sure Buffalo has about 47 in between. That math doesn't add up. Oh boy. So the first fullback in the draft, from my recollection, David Montgomery, going to Atlanta here. Pick number 11.
Let's expect a second.
Right. Now, I don't. Do you guys have a fullback on roster? Is he going to be day 1 starter?
Starter.
Okay, all right. And then Buffalo, Calvin Harvin, hopefully related to Percy, QB from Purdue. Looking to fill up some holes here, I'm assuming, in the quarterback room.
Yeah, the hits Josh Allen takes, you need a little competition behind him and see who's going to take it.
Oh, so QB competition being reported here. So Nick Chavez, right end out of Florida, will go to Baltimore. And a lot of bird teams coming in this round here in the last 6 picks. And now we have the Atlanta Falcons on the clock. Oh boy, so the Falcons have traded the pick away here, round 4, pick 14, to the Green Bay Packers. And the Bills traded a lot of guys to the Bears, are inside the division last year, and it happens again here. Not to the extent, but let's see who the Packers take with that pick. It'll be Jaden Gerard, left outside linebacker, West Virginia. And as we mentioned, due to time constraints, we will advance to the next user pick. And it'll be, well, surprising, Buffalo, as Asterix Gray, cornerback from Illinois, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. So another bird team coming across here. Minnesota picks in 3 picks from now, but Buffalo on the clock. We're assuming all these are depth positions at this point, as we have the analyst from the studio giving us the old hurry. Let's
definitely looking at depth here for Buffalo in these later rounds.
Yeah, for sure. So Eric Morrison, right guard from Minnesota, will go to Buffalo. So we'll skip ahead here real quickly. Both picks are in. Dominic Ingram, middle linebacker from Missouri, or Missouri, however you want to say it, Missouri. And then the LA Rams will select Devin Schaefer or Schaffer. Minnesota's next pick is in 2 rounds from this one. Let's see who they want to take here. So the pick is in for Minnesota. It will be Ron Parker. Obviously, all these are just going to be depth moves. Might have been a reach. Does have pretty good measurables. Play rec is pretty good. Impact blocking, of course. 6'2", 319. Out of Auburn, run stopper. So there you have it. Minnesota welcomes Ron Parker to the mix. Defensive tackle taken here. 4th round. We'll skip ahead to Buffalo's pick. Derek Smith will go to Chargers. Right tackle out of Penn State. Minnesota has 1 more remaining in the 6th round. 27th overall. And did we make another trade with the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah, Buffalo decided to trade out of this pick and gain another pick in next year's draft.
Well, there you have it. Capital. What's the capital of New York? It's Buffalo. And we skip ahead. Keelan Cunningham, running back, Ball State, will go to the Ravens. And it's going to be back-to-back Buffalo here. Oh, no, a couple picks separate. My apologies. So Buffalo back on the clock here after trading. And it's Khalil Worrell. We're assuming it is another depth move. And the Titans.
Yep, another depth move with a hidden dev trade as well.
Oh, snap. So a possible diamond in the rough here, round number 5. My goodness. Shaq Blue will go to the Titans. Seattle Seahawks pick is in. Pat Briscoe, right guard out of Michigan, will go to the Seattle Super Chickens. And my goodness, Buffalo Bills back on the clock. Oh, boy.
Buffalo trading again for another pick next year.
Well, there you go. And we will advance to the next user pick as we are under time constraints, and it is Atlanta. Here, pick 13 of the 5th round, and Trayman Pickens will go to the New York Giants, cornerback out of Oklahoma. And Traymon Pickens, being an Oklahomie, will find a new home in New York. Oh boy! So back-to-back user trades here, Atlanta. Well, what was the details of that trade that just happened?
We are trading our 5th round pick for their 4th round next year, which would be, as of right now, pick 117.
Well, there you go. So many of the user teams trading back next season for extra capital. Falcons get a win there. They trade a 5th for a 4th, and they're back on the clock here as Kevin Perez goes to left guard out of California, goes to the Browns. And Minnesota just 1 pick left. Buffalo, I'm sure, has a couple. And the Atlanta Falcons back on the clock here. Round 5, pick number 28. All right. So we have a trade. The Falcons trade with the Patriots. And we'll see what that draft pick will be real quick. It's Matthew Betts. And you bet that Matthew will be contributing to that Patriots team. And we now have the go-ahead to skip these Packers picks as we go to the Buffalo Bills pick. Desmond Brewer, running back out of Penn State, will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And just like a couple minutes ago, Buffalo back on the clock. My goodness. Oh boy, we got another trade, do we?
Buffalo trading that 5th rounder to get a 4th rounder next year.
Well, there you go. Improvement. And with that pick, the Colts select Bryce Suttle, or Sutley, if you want to be fancy. And of course, we will, as always, advance to the next user pick. Surprise, surprise. It is Buffalo Jeff Colbert, left outside linebacker from Vanderbilt, goes to the Titans. And we're assuming all trades are going to be for draft capital next season, and all these moves are going to be depth. So we appreciate the correspondence for said teams joining us here this evening. And we'll just kind of power through these last couple rounds here. Round 6, pick 6 goes to Buffalo. We'll see if they'll trade or select a player. And it'll be Eric Bush, wide receiver out of UTEP. There you have it. We'll advance to Buffalo's next pick. They have back-to-back. Pick is in. It's Joshua Jarrett, right outside linebacker out of Clemson. The Commanders will select Sean Goodwell, strong safety out of Indiana. And Buffalo back on the clock here. Round 6, pick 11. Drawing ever closer to that Mr. Irrelevant spot we always follow with these franchises. Oh boy. And for the Bills, it's going to be Juan Boatwright. A silly name coming across the board here. Strong safety, South Carolina. Here in the 6th round. And now the Atlanta Falcons on the clock. Minnesota gets a pick in 15 selections, and it will be their last this season. Oh boy. Ooh. And so we do have another trade. Falcons trading out of their round 6 number 12 spot. We'll see what that pick will be. And it's Tarrant, or Tarrant, however you want to say, a defensive tackle out of Georgia. We will advance to the next user pick. Should be Minnesota. Nope, it is Buffalo. Minnesota coming up here. Wedged between a couple of Rams picks as we drive her closer to the end of the 6th round. It'll be Asterisk Derby, QB out of Northern Illinois, taken by the Cowboys. And Buffalo on the clock here. 6th round selection. And it looks like we do have a trade. So Carolina has traded with Buffalo and or vice versa. We'll see what that pick will be. And it's Deacon Smith, cornerback out of Wisconsin. Go ahead and advance to Minnesota's pick. Matthew Grayson, running back out of Oklahoma, will go to the Rams, and Minnesota on the clock here. And for the Minnesota Vikings, their final pick here will be Nick Wayne. Good speed. Deep threat, only 5'8", 179. I don't know how Minnesota's going to use him, but great speed. 2nd overall in the wide receiver class with a 4.3 40. Not bad. I'm assuming he's just going to be buried on the depth chart. So we will advance to the next user pick, of course, as we are under broadcast constraints. And surprise, surprise, it's Buffalo staring us in the eyes. Travis Hatchett, running back out of New Mexico State, will go to the Bunkles as we enter the 7th round. Mr. Irrelevant coming ever closer here. Oh boy. And for Buffalo, it's going to be Amari Harrison, wide receiver, Fresno State. As we've stated earlier, we are assuming all these are depth picks. And Deshaun White, left outside linebacker, LSU, will go to the Giants. So here we go. Littered, the next 5 picks, or 6 picks rather, are littered with user picks. 4 of the next 6 are user picks. My goodness. So for Buffalo, Clyde Hargrove, right outside linebacker out of Lafayette, will come off the board here. And that puts Atlanta on the clock. Round 7, pick 14. We go to Las Vegas town, and then we come back for Buffalo and Atlanta again. My heavens. So Buffalo, Brian Rayford, left tackle out of Wisconsin, will go to Las Vegas town, and Buffalo back on the clock here. Round 7, pick 16, about 15 remaining here in the 2024 NFL draft. And then we will go over everybody's selections and figure out who won in terms of picks. Paul Westerman will go off the board here, fullback out of Houston to Buffalo. Nathan Proctor, tight end out of Texas A&M, will go to the Bucks. And surprise, surprise, the Bills back on the clock here. And we'll see what their 7th round selection, 23rd pick will be. Nearing the end and drawing ever closer to Mr. Irrelevant. One of the favorite things to do here in the draft. And Mitch Barnett, a kicker, will go here. 7th round pick 23 goes the way of Mitch Barnett, kicker out of USC. Oh, snap. And Nate Heller, left outside linebacker, BYU, will go to the gosh darn Jets. And the Bills back on the clock here in what seems to be the 40th pick of their draft. Very, very healthy numbers here. That took a kicker last time. We'll see what they want to take here. And they'll go back-to-back special teams. James Gomes, punter out of Temple, goes here. 7th round, 30th pick. Oh. Wait, that was you? Bro.
I didn't have a pick.
It says, oh, okay, well, I simmed that one. And, dude, what the hell's going on here?
I don't have a pick. I only had pick 10 in the 7th.
So the Falcons get gifted a compensatory pick, 7th round pick 31. Matt Rutherford apparently goes to left end Washington. And then Mr. Irrelevant.
I guess.
We won't be able to see it. Will Gresham, I think, is what it was. We'll just do it in the back end here. And hello and welcome back to the main screen. Mr. Irrelevant, if you didn't see it. Will Gresham, wide receiver, went by way of Las Vegas town. So the Super Bowl defending, reigning, head of the table champions Minnesota Vikings have concluded their 2024 draft. We will take a look at all the rookies here and see how they're graded by the NFL. Minnesota had 4 first-round selections. They take Emeka Egbuka with the first selection, pick number 8 overall. He's been signed to a 4-year deal. 77 overall grade by the NFL, 92 speed, 90 acceleration. They didn't get him for that, though. They got him for his catching, which is 83, catch in traffic 84. Will plug in and hopefully take place. I mean, it's kind of big shoes to fill with Adam Thielen, but he has one of the better rated catch in traffics on this roster now. Spec catch of 92, so that's good. Emeka Egbuka, welcome. Emeka Egbuka, rather, welcome to Minnesota. Then Minnesota needed to plug a hole in strong safety that Harrison Smith will leave. I don't know if anybody can replicate what he did for Minnesota lately, but they think Max Stackhouse is up for the challenge. He is a 76 rated overall by the NFL out of 100. 91 speed, 90 acceleration. Let's take a look at his zone coverage. It will be a 70, man coverage 76. Minnesota plays a lot of press. That will be a 71. So Max Stackhouse, welcome to Minnesota. And then they kind of botched their third first round selection. They pick Clayton Smith, speed rusher, age 21. Out of not available college. He is a 69 overall. Does have good speed. It didn't feel like a good pick for Minnesota. But then they will bounce back, and their final first round selection will be Matthias Bullow, as they now added a left outside linebacker, 72 overall grade by the NFL. Pretty good speed, pretty good acceleration. And as we take a look at his zone and man coverage, not the best. So he is a archetype of power rusher, and he will be used as such here in this Minnesota defense that is taking on a new look. We added more 4-3 plays into this playbook, and then just depth moves. They get Jay Bryan, they get Ron Parker, who will step in at a 68 overall, and then Nick Wayne with 95 speed, 94 acceleration. He will be on kick return, punt return duties for sure. So that will conclude your Minnesota Vikings 2024 draft class. Emeka Egbuka, welcome to Minnesota. That should just about do it here. We'll take a look at some of the other teams that drafted. Who got the highest overall rated rookie? It is Trayvon Henderson, running back. Jaquincy McKinstry, 77 overall. Jamar Streets, left outside linebacker, 77. Emeka Egbuka. That's going to be hard to get used to there. Stackhouse, so Minnesota gets a couple there. Rashad Green, Marquise Palmer, Kenny Phillips, Amarius Mims, 76. So the Trayvon Henderson, the Titans will win the draft as he is a 79 overall. My goodness. Who is the fastest player taken in this draft? It is Abdul Hill, 97 overall speed. Oh boy. Xavier Worthy up there as well at 96. So it was Abdul Hill was the fastest in the draft. And then as we take a look at some of these other teams that we follow here, Nick Edison, 75 overall. Carlos Beverly, wide receiver, 73. David Hanna, right tackle, 73. Biddle, 72. We'll actually go by rounds. That'll make more sense. Allen, 72. Hanna, 73. You already heard that. Beverly over him. So the Buffalo Bills, for all intents and purposes, hitting Eric Bush late. A 70 is not bad. Amari Harrison late, 71 overall, not bad. Fullback, 70 overall, not bad. In Westerman, and then their kicker and punter. We'll take a look at their kick powers here. So the only kicker and punter drafted to the best of Randy Replay's knowledge. Both of them being power kickers. And then as we go look at the Falcons, they had a very, very good free agency period. And their fourth round selection, David Montgomery, their fullback, 74, the best pick of their draft, 68 overall. Darrell Buckhalter, wide receiver. Brandon Wheeler, 67. And then Matt Rutherford, left end, 66. So Minnesota, Buffalo, and Atlanta concluding the draft. As we look ahead to year number 3 at the 2024 draft conclusion, this has been Randy Replay. We will see you in the next one for the 2024-2025 season. Oh, goodness.